Welcome to Epic Begins with One Step Forward. I'm your host, Zander, and I am so excited that you're joining me today. I wanted to start off with the thought of the day. Let's talk about the now or never mindset. You know, we say all the time, later, I'll do that later, but you want to know what? Later is the sneakiest form of never. When you want to do something, you really need to act on it right now. You need to take that step forward, because if you don't, that step never happens, and the following step can't happen. You know, I almost put off starting my podcast, and I was like, oh, I'll do that next month, I'll do it. And then I'm like, no, I need to do it now. And I am so happy that I did, because now I'm 120 episodes in, the podcast is up and going, and it all started with that one step forward. Act now while the spark is in you and it's in what you want to do. That motivation will help you push forward. Do one thing now instead of later. Now I wanted to give you an update. It's actually about me, because age is a state of mind. I just recently had a birthday, and I can tell you, I do not feel what my chronological age is. If you're curious, I'm 58 years old. I find that hard to believe that that number is attached to me, because I certainly don't feel that way. And I do believe that age is a state of mind. There's so many people I see who we go, oh my gosh, that person is 80 years old, 85, 90, or close to 100. Look at Dick Van Dyke, 100 years old. The man is still going. It is really a state of mind. So I encourage you to not just believe that chronological number, believe how you feel inside. Now, today, I have a very special guest. I have Edna Castillo joining me. Edna, tell us who you are and what you do.
So I am a healing mindset coach, and I work with the cancer support community of the San Francisco Bay Area. I do some facilitating for a couple of groups for them, and I also do some workshops.
Oh, that's great. Now, tell me a little about what the Cancer Support Network of the Bay Area is.
So the Cancer Support Community of the Bay Area is an organization, nonprofit organization that supports cancer patients in various ways. We support the person suffering from cancer, different types of cancer, or also the family members, the children, the teens, just the whole, the caregivers in various ways. We support them with workshops, educational. We also have groups where people share their experience, and it's an incredible process of them actually meeting, sharing, becoming friends, and they're going along with cancer. They learn a lot from each other. We also offer classes like mindful classes, yoga classes, just anything that will support them, diet, financial. So it's a way, it's an organization that the registrants, the members, do not pay a cent. Mm-hmm. So it is completely funded by our donors who care a lot about the cancer community.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, you're not only someone who conducts workshops and stuff, but you were also a cancer survivor.
That's right, and that's why I'm affiliated with them. Because in 2020, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And during that process is when three of the things that they support is the loneliness that you feel when you have cancer. Mm-hmm. Also just the hope that you sometimes lose, and also the lack of control that you feel. And for me, the biggest thing was the loss of control. I felt like my calendar was no longer mine, and I needed a support group that would that I could learn from, other women that I could learn from. And that's exactly what happened. I joined the cancer support community. They supported me through the navigation of cancer. I am now cancer-free for 5 years. So
congratulations
thank
on
you.
that.
Thank
That is
you.
epic.
Yes, it is epic. And I wanted to give back to them. So as a mindset coach, I support cancer patients myself. And I found that they were welcoming in terms of when I offered my services and workshops that I give or facilitating their work groups. They were very open about, especially because I knew of the cancer experience. One of their initiatives is bringing it to the Hispanic community. Spanish is my first language. Sometimes second, because sometimes when you don't practice, something happens.
Exactly.
And that's one of the initiatives that I brought forth. Just last week, we started a new group that I'm heading in Spanish.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's interesting. I want to understand cancer in the Hispanic community. How is that viewed? Is it sort of one of the we don't talk about that sort of things, or? Because again, cancer obviously affects everyone across
Right.
all walks of life and all ethnicities and age and all of that. But I'm just interested. I'm aware. There's some things like in the Asian community, mental health is not something that is talked about a lot.
Right.
So I was interested. For in the Hispanic community, how's cancer? How's it
viewed?
We don't talk about that?
In some aspects, yes. It really depends on the socioeconomics of the individual. Hispanic community is huge, so many countries.
Absolutely.
So it depends where you come from. What I have found, though, is getting the support group started. We're not, once we start, I'm sure that it'll be really, really very engaging, but it's the sharing process that we may not want to share our experiences. We're not accustomed to that type of support group.
I got it.
Yeah, so it's not so much that we don't talk about it, except other than we're taught more to be more conservative in our experiences. So opening people's, my goal is to be able to just engage people so that they are open enough to go through the process, because it is a healing type of process that we go through with support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've done as a mental health therapist. I've done like anxiety groups.
Yeah.
I did my internship in a high school setting, so I was running anxiety groups for adolescents, which incredibly challenging to do, to get a group of adolescents who don't necessarily know each other to feel comfortable enough to talk about their anxiety. Now, interesting, I'm sure this has been your experience too with the cancer support, which is the first meeting or two is A, so long, and two, so crunchy and awkward, and because understandably people don't know. They don't know these people. How am I going to open up? But usually I tell people, I tell my clients, I'm like, look, just stick with me, just show up. I really guarantee that by the second or third time, you feel more comfortable. It won't feel as awkward. And they did. And then I would do like 8-week, workshops, groups. And I get to about week 6 and they realize it's going to end and they're begging me not to. No, I love this so good. I just need this.
Yeah.
Has that been your experience too?
Yeah, totally. And that's the thing, right? And I think that because I went through it, I can speak to them about that experience for me.
Sure.
And it's a really genuine experience that can be a lesson as to how others can help you in the process. And I know that there's been studies that when we are supported, we heal faster.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just learning from each other and all of that. So I'm prepared to do a little bit of, I don't want to say arm twisting, but just be generous with the information, so they are welcoming a support group that really cares for them and helps them into healing.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that the Cancer Support Network is doing, which is so important, is helping not just the people going through it, but their families, the
Yes.
support system, because it is very tiring to be supporting someone and trying to take care of someone else and make sure you're taking care of your own mental health needs.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, the caregiver group is a group that also meets on a weekly basis, and they share experiences, they share the frustration, they share all of the things that come with caregiving, and remind each other of taking care of oneself prior to, along with, I should say, not prior to, but along with caring for the patient.
Well, but
yeah.
Maslow's hierarchy says we have to take care of our core needs first before we can go
Yeah.
help someone else.
Yeah.
And as is the case with someone that you love so much, you're like, I have to be there for them. I
Yes.
have to do this. And yet, usually at the detriment of your own self-care, your own health. And then if you get sick as a caregiver, you're not being very helpful
That's right.
to that other person who does need you.
That's right.
I also think it's great that you're talking with the kids, because
Yeah.
I think all too often, and depending on the age of the children, they kind of feel like they're in the dark, yet they know something's going on with mom or something's going on with dad.
Yes.
No one's telling me, they're telling me everything's fine, yet kids are incredibly observant.
Definitely. There's it's a beautiful opportunity to really share with the kids. We have a kids circle, and it's ages, I believe it's like from 8 to 12, and they do activities together. And then from 12 onto 18 is teen talk. But I've actually worked with these groups as well, and it's really cool because first of all the kid comes very hesitant, but then they get introduced to other kids whose parents are navigating cancer as well. So then there's the identification. Okay, I'm not alone. There's somebody here that knows what's happening with my family. And at the end of the session, it's like a 3-4 hour. We have lunch together, and they become friends. And then the parent actually also is parent. They have a parents group at the same time.
Yeah.
And so when the parents come pick them up, they're not wanting to go.
Yeah.
It's like, do I have to go? So it's really cool.
It is, and I do work with an organization called the Compassionate Friends, which is for families that have lost a child, and I'm the sibling representative on the board. But I know getting to be around other sibling survivors is invaluable, because I get to have the conversations I want to have with people who understand and are going through the same thing that I am. And one of the things I know is, and we say this all the time, my parents. And someone goes, yep, what are they doing? Well, my mom is, gets so upset when I don't text her or call her every time I leave my apartment. And, like I'm going to the store, and if I don't call, then she's like, text bombing me and calling the police, for them to look for me. And again, these are people who are adult children who may not have lived at home for years. So I can imagine that similar thing with the, oh my gosh, no one's talking to me. Oh yeah, I get that, all the whispers, the looks, and I know something's going on. I'm like, tell me.
Yeah.
You know, and we want to protect our kids. I'm a parent. I want to protect my kids, but I also think some truthfulness helps.
Definitely, it does, and you can't hide it from children. Children are just like sponges. They feel everything. Very, very, yeah. And I think it's just true about the cancer experience and how it touches the whole family. It is about, you know, the patient feeling like nobody really understands them, and then obviously the spouse or the care support group, they don't have someone else in their immediate circle who can understand. So that's what cancer support community is. It brings those individuals together so they can know, you know what, I'm not alone.
Right.
Somebody else is living this experience and we can learn from each other.
Right. And the other thing that, for right or for wrong, happens when you say that you have cancer, that is the only thing that people seem to, all of a sudden, you are just a one-issue person.
Yeah.
Edna, you're cancer.
Yeah.
Never mind the rest of your life, whether you're a parent, a grandparent, a sister, brother,
Yes.
your job. And you're like, but I'm not just that one thing.
It becomes their identity, and it's tough. Because it becomes the identity with everybody around them.
But that's not how...
And that's not what the cancer patient needs at that moment in time either.
I have a question. When you're going through your cancer battle, did you identify solely as... No, you're like, but wait a minute.
Yes.
I identify all these different ways, and frankly, cancer patient is probably not at the top of my list. It's down a little.
Yeah.
I'm these other things also.
Well, the other thing that happens, which I found in supporting cancer patients, some people skip out. You know, you tell them, meaning when we're in a support group, it says, yeah, half my community left. Mm-hmm. They don't know how to support me, and I know they care about me, but because they don't know how to support me, I don't hear from them.
Right.
So that's another thing that we need to educate people on how to support one another despite the challenges that may be going through.
And here's something I say to siblings and parents, and when I'm talking about grief and stuff, is, I think it applies within the cancer community, which is, there's no miracle sentence that will make it better for me, and I don't have one for you. I appreciate that you are concerned for me.
Yeah.
But it's okay to talk to me, right? Because people are like, oh, I'm afraid especially with grief, I'm afraid I'm going to say the wrong thing. Well, I can tell you, not saying anything is sometimes so much worse.
Yeah.
You go into, I'm sure you had this experience. I know I had it when I lost my sister, where I'd sort of be going to some kind of an event. And I knew that people knew that my sister had been killed. And so I sort of was prepared for all of that, and yet not one person came up and talked. So you're kind of like, I'm all mentally and physically prepared for this,
and nothing.
And so then you kind of walk away feeling somehow disappointed, a pariah or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you kind of have that experience?
You know, I went through my cancer journey during COVID.
Oh my.
So it made
you were like doubly with
So it made it, in a way, it made it easier because everybody was in their own homes.
Yeah.
Minding their own business in a traumatic space themselves.
Yeah.
So when we got out of COVID and I was healthy, they're like, what? You went through what?
Yeah.
So I got that part more so than...
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I don't know if it was a curse or a blessing.
I guess it depends on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And, well, that's interesting. What do you like most about working with the Cancer Support Network?
It's the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person that works there, whether full-time, part-time, volunteers, there's so many volunteers too. It's the heart of giving. Mm-hmm. And when you go into an organization where it's everything, you're hugged as you walk in, right? And there's a smile on your face. I worked in corporate for 30 years, so a very different dynamic. But it's and I also worked in nonprofit, but this is a very special group of people that are just there for the intention of providing strength, support, and lifting people up that are in the navigation of cancer.
Right. What would you say are one or two things that you wish more people knew about people dealing with cancer?
That's a very good question. We're not fragile.
You're not going to break, really?
We're not fragile. Yeah, or also we're not strong.
Right.
You know, that's one of the things that a lot of the cancer patients say in group. They just think I'm so strong, and I'm not strong. And so it makes them think that, oh my gosh, you really have to put this strong face out there. I'm just like anybody else. You know, sometimes I need lifting up, sometimes I need crying on your shoulder, and yeah, sometimes I am strong. But that whole thing of either being really fragile or being very strong, I think it goes depending on who's supporting, right?
Yeah.
But we're just people,
Right.
Navigating an illness that unfortunately is more and more pronounced, but in our society. But there's also so many more cures coming up. So very blessed
Absolutely.
to be living in this era.
Absolutely. I also think, yes, there's lots of cancer, but part of that is because now we know how to diagnose it.
Yes.
Right? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
like any illness, all of a sudden you go, oh, there was a big spike in cancer. Yeah, because we figured out how to actually diagnose it.
That's right.
Kind of makes sense. You're going to have a spike. All of a sudden you're like, oh, now we know what this is. We're not classifying it as this other thing.
Right. We're more aware. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And yes, we can all, not only can we, but we are simultaneously fragile and strong.
That's right.
And you know, I also think it's important, make sure that as a cancer patient that you give people permission to talk to you, tell them it's okay, answer questions. People are afraid to ask questions, but the fact of the matter is you might be really willing to go, yeah, I mean, the chemo is really doing a number on me, or nah, you know, honestly, I had my chemo, I don't feel great, but it's not as bad as I thought, you know?
I think that's the other misconception, that we think that the cancer experience is the cancer experience, period. Every single person has a different experience.
Of course.
In their treatment, in their navigation of each of the therapies that they're because your body is different, you're different, your mindset is different. And, you know, so each experience is so much more different. So we can't put them all on a bucket and say, this is what they're going through, poor them. Or, you know, however.
This must be what your experience is. I saw my mother go through it, so that must be your experience. And look, there are people who are, they're really sad because they have the cancer.
Yeah.
There are people who are pissed off. There are people who have just resigned and sadly just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I can't do anything. And sadly, sometimes that is true. It is hard when, especially on families, those surviving, when someone who has cancer says, I'm done. I'm done. But that is a really important thing, and so important to support that person's, it's their choice.
Definitely.
Yes, it is fine to acknowledge that you are really sad that cancer's going to win.
Yeah.
It's going to, they're going to die. But also to honor that they have a choice on how they want to go out.
Right.
And it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about them.
Yeah.
And it's not, I do know, I have personal experience of going, I understand that decision, but boy, does that make me sad.
Yeah, yeah.
I want for you to fight more, because you hope that some
Miracle
cure is going to
Yeah.
come around, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. No, and that's the whole thing. Honoring the person as a whole and their experience and what they're wanting is very, very important. The other piece is actually that I wanted to kind of bring up in the same vein of advocating for yourself when you are in that journey. One of the things that we discuss in group is how sometimes we just give our authority. We give our...
Oh gosh, yes, I've heard that.
Right, and so you're diagnosed and therefore you put your hands in the hands of a doctor who knows a lot, but it's your body. And this is cultural too. You were asking me about Hispanic. This is a cultural thing. For me, that's the way it was, where I was taught to in situations like that, just look for the authority. They will guide you. And it was my oncologist who said, no, you do not do that. You question. And she actually, I love her to pieces because she's like, no, you can't do that. You question, ask, research, just educate yourself.
Yeah.
And that made me a better patient, because I did go in asking questions about, well, how about this? Or why are you doing that? Or what can I do? Rather than just receiving the knowledge and moving on with it. Yeah.
What are my choices?
What are my choices? Exactly.
So you're prescribing, you're saying that you think I should have this particular treatment. Why?
Why? Yeah.
Why are you choosing that over other ones?
Exactly.
What side effects are common?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But
and obviously we're lucky nowadays that we can go access a wealth of information. Of course, taking everything that you read online with a grain of salt, unless it's coming from, obviously, if it's coming from, American Cancer Society or Johns Hopkins or Sloan Kettering or Dana-Farber, places that obviously have established a knowledge that, yes, I can trust that they're saying this.
And that's the gift of a support group. Because we do hear of instances where people are Googling and then somebody raises their hand and say, I would suggest that you start going to Cancer Society. And then we, as a cancer support community, we have a reference manual that is like so very extensive. So whatever question or need that they have, all they need to do is call us, and we can direct them to 2 or 3 sources.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the other piece that, you Google, doing a search on, on the net is not the thing to do. It's basically going to the avenues that are going to really know what they're talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look at the source that you're reading it from.
Exactly.
And there are some that we all know. Again, American Cancer Societies probably going to be giving you some solid information about what type of cancer you have, what the treatments are, life expectancies, things to know about.
Well, with life expectancies, though, it's really important to notice when the publications came out.
Oh, absolutely.
Because things are moving so fast that, somebody was saying 2 years and now they've been... I'm still here, but science is evolving so quickly for the benefit of the patient.
Absolutely.
That also not believing that, but just making sure that you're like, you know what, I got this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how can people get a hold of, be able to connect with Cancer Support Network of the Bay Area?
So the easiest way is to go to cancersupport.net, and there you will have all the different things that we have. We have a calendar of events. We have a Hope Walk coming up. We have and we have on-demand videos where workshops from that have been given, and you search what do you want to learn, and it'll get you to a on-demand workshop or educational.
Yeah.
Or you can give us a call.
Yeah.
And so it's really that simple. And we're welcoming of all the people that are wanting to connect with us.
Well, that's great. And I want to thank you so much for coming in. Your story is epic. The work you're doing is so important. And thank you so much for the support that you're giving to other cancer patients and families.
It was my pleasure, my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Of course. I want to remind everyone that if you're ready to begin your epic journey, go to epicbegins.com. And as always, remember, epic choices lead to the epic life that you want.